sometimes the most organic, unplanned things are the best results.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Oh, you're good.
I told you, I'm your translator.
Well, he literally translated what I have in my mind. So that's what I meant, guys.
No, that's exactly what you're saying. So I love that. That's really cool.
You are now listening to the Higher Podcast, brought to you by Flying Arts Studios, the best podcast in the world, according to us.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Cool.
That's perfect. Okay, what's up, everyone?
Hello.
Welcome to episode 4
Yep.
of the Higher Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Today we have JM Tubera.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that good?
Such a good pronunciation.
Tubera.
Wow.
Tubera.
I think that was a pity
Good
wow
job.
for me.
Yeah, wow.
It felt like, I'll give him a clap.
Sure. But yeah, today we got JM on the podcast today. This is actually like the second time we've actually met. First time was at Annie's birthday. Shout out to Pastels. And yeah, we were kicking it at the party.
We were driving you home.
Yeah.
And then we were like talking about the podcast. I'm like, oh, we got to have you on, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now here you are. Thanks for coming through, bro. How you feeling?
Good. Happy to be here. This is my first podcast.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
First
So
podcast.
Yay. But for the people that don't know you, could you just give a brief explanation about what you do?
yeah. So I'm based in Australia. Based in Melbourne.
Why are you laughing? What's wrong with Melbourne, Australia?
I'm a film photographer, so I use film, analog. I'm mainly focused on portraits, and yeah.
Awesome. And so you do film photography for clients as well?
Yes. So I do both digital and film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Depends on like the demand or like the request. But if you see my Instagram, all of my Instagram posts are film. But if you see a website of mine that I created recently, it's more like wedding. So
Right.
I have like separate, like I can even send like Dropbox folders of shoots I've done.
Oh, awesome. And do you do like film for weddings as well?
No, but I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people request it, so
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's pretty
That'd be
awesome.
dope. I would do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
How did you first start getting into photography?
Oh, I first started when, you know, the era when everyone was having DSLR around their necks.
I'm still there.
But do you guys remember that? Like everyone
Yeah.
was literally having their DSLR. I don't even have one, but like some of my friends have DSLRs, and I was just like borrowing it and stuff. And yeah, we would do fun stuff like shooting like clothes for their online shop and stuff like that.
Cool.
And then eventually you went to college. I had like one photography class, and we were required a camera, and it basically started from there. And then I interned for a magazine for 3 months.
Oh, cool.
And then I became like a regular contributing photographer for that magazine. And yeah, that became like a job and passion for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this in the Philippines?
Yeah, this was in the Philippines.
Whereabouts in the Philippines for all the Filipinos out there?
Oh, in Manila.
In Manila.
Yeah. The beautiful Manila. No traffic.
It's funny because this is episode 4, but we've already had 4 philos. Yeah.
For Philo.
4
Yeah,
fellows on the show.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We had 2 on the last one.
Oh, who's the other?
The other 2 was Gian and Lama. They're dancers and DJs.
Uh-huh.
And then second one was Matt John.
Who's
Yeah.
half?
I don't know.
It's half philo. Yeah. But it's a trend.
Yeah.
You love the philos.
I'm waiting for you guys to say like, oh, do you know them? Because they're Philo.
No, that's a generalization,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Family friends? No. But yeah, okay, cool. So you started in the Philippines. So in Manila, you saw a bunch of people with DSLR cameras. And then how old were you at this time?
I was, oh my God. If I remember correctly, probably 18, 19.
Okay, 18,
Yeah,
19.
but I was experimenting that time.
Ah,
I was just taking pictures of anything.
yeah.
I even like created like a album on Facebook, like not a photographer. I don't want anyone to criticize my photography.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like having fun.
So then at what point did you decide that you were a photographer?
I think when I did my first publish photo for that magazine I was interning for. Like I was an intern, and they let me do this like photo shoot with a celebrity, and it was published. It was like really small like feature on that magazine, but I was so happy. I created this like essay of like how thankful I am and shit like that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And in your opinion, what makes a good photo?
I feel like, okay, this is just based on my opinion because I'm not a fan of like overly like structured, overly posed photo. So for me, like a really good photo would be like the one that shows what the person is. Like if it's portraits, like if it's honest and true to themselves, then that for me is like a good photo. That doesn't have to be like styled or something.
Right. And so to utilize that, do you like to shoot portraits when the subject is in their natural environment?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you kind of look for when you're setting up a shoot. You're like, oh, can we do it at your house or something like that?
Yeah.
Right.
So when starting shooting film, I would always tell someone to just turn up, and I'm not even gonna like make a mood board or something. I just want them to turn up as they are. Like even the clothes, I'm gonna let them just wear whatever. And I'm just gonna choose like a location, then we'll go from there.
Cool. And does that work out all the time, or is there a lot of times where it's like, did you bring anything else?
I feel like it does, because
It works out all the time?
like I said, like I don't really like when something is super planned
Yeah.
or when I control too much. Like it does work.
That's cool.
And
No, I like that.
If
because-
the fit doesn't work, then I'll just focus on face.
True. No, I like that because I think a lot of the times when we think creative, we are so bogged down with the details and always trying to be like super organized all the time, or we feel like it might not be a good project because we're not super organized. But then people got to understand the creative process works differently for people, and sometimes the most organic, unplanned things are the best results.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Wow, you're good.
I told you, I'm your translator.
Wow, he literally translated what I have in my mind. So that's what I meant, guys.
No, that's exactly what you're saying. So I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I feel that. And I think that was definitely something that I wanted to talk about as well, in terms of like when you look at all of your photos and you see like all the different people, you find this way to capture everyone's like essence in this really like
thank you.
Yeah, in an authentic way, and everyone says like authentic a lot. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but you seem to have this thing where you are able to capture it, and you mentioned having this kind of like more like laid back approach to the shoots and coming through and making people feel comfortable, maybe.
Laid back.
Yeah, it's a bit more
But
laid
yeah.
back, but obviously the shots are of very high quality still.
Yeah.
Do
Thank
you
you.
feel like there's a way that you are able to really capture people's stories, or like is it the environment or the way that you talk to them when you're shooting that makes it unique? Or like what is your process around like trying to capture someone's story when you're shooting?
So when I started shooting film, like I didn't know anyone in this like creative scene, right? So I would always just reach out on Instagram, random people, and then on the day of the shoot, I would just like talk to them like where they're from and stuff like that. I feel like someone that has similarities with me, like being an immigrant and stuff like that, I relate to them the most, and it makes them feel comfortable as well that we have those kind of conversations. And as soon as that level of comfortability reaches at some point, and then we're both like just chilling, I feel like that's when I actually do truly capture like the person's like essence.
Yeah. So it takes a bit of time to kind of like get to know each other, and then you shoot a bit, and then you kind of find that.
Usually
sweet
like
spot.
first 10 shots are not that good.
Oh right, yeah.
And it's film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when in the middle of the shoot, that's when like the ideal portraits would reach its peak.
How do you feel like like once you've got it? Because especially with film, you can't review these photos, so you're just kind of going at it. Is it just like instinct for you, or is there, like at what point are you like, oh, I got it?
I don't know, because like I can't really review like on film, but I would just hope it's good, because you know, like this camera that I use is like a really, really large viewfinder, so I would just imagine like, oh, this is actually how it would look like, and yeah, but I wouldn't really know until I actually have the developed photos. Yeah.
Okay. So why film then? Like, you know, we live in 2023.
Wow.
He's not criticizing you.
Oh my god, an old guy told that to me. Okay.
You know, and you know, you can, like, a lot of people will just be like, you know what? I'll just shoot it on digital. I can just add a little grain here, make it look a little bit more filmy here. You know,
I used to do that.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
And then, you know, what made you decide, you know what, I'm going to go just straight film and just go with that and just stick to it?
So this is interesting because I didn't shoot film because I really wanted to shoot film. It's more like I wanted
Film
to
chose you.
No, I just wanted to like rediscover myself as a photographer because when I went here, so I was a tourist here and then decided to stay here, and then I applied for a master's degree in like application in RMIT, and on my first year I was ready to give up my like photography because like I'm like this like I mean it's not going anywhere. I was emailing like modeling agencies as well, and they're like, sorry, like your work is not what you're looking for. And I came from like a magazine background, so I thought I was like, oh, I'm actually good. Like maybe I'll get something. And then they're like, I keep like getting rejections. And then at some point I was thinking like, should I just give up photography and just focus on IT because this is not working out, and this is like a new environment, it's a new city. Then maybe it's time for me to give it up because it's not, you know, it's not working.
Oh my god! Imagine if you gave it up.
I know. You're just working in IT.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have taken the shots that you've taken.
I would have
today.
met the people, like amazing people that I met today.
Definitely not.
So don't give up, people. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Keep going. Unless
Don't
you
give
love
up.
IT.
Yeah. Unless you have lots of money. You know.
So,
So and I was like, oh, maybe I should just, you know, experiment with film. So I bought my 35mm camera. I'm like, oh, it's too grainy. It's too grainy, so I don't like the quality. So I'm like, okay, this is after one roll of film, right?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll jump to medium format. I jumped to medium format like after that one roll, and that's how I started like shooting portraits and meeting people, because I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna do portraits and try to see what's the outcome. And I actually really liked it.
Cool. And just to backtrack, what made you come to Melbourne? What was it about Melbourne that you're like, oh, I want to stay here?
It's just so before I came here, I didn't haven't traveled anywhere for like for a long time.
Right.
So I only went to Malaysia for like 4 days. That's like my first out of the country experience. So when I went here as a tourist, I was living with my brother. I was just gonna be here for a month, right? And I was like, oh, this is how it is in another country, in a first world country. Because I've lived in a third world country my whole life, and you know, I was just comparing things like salary, the way of life, the trains are better, even though sometimes people like the locals here think the trains are shit. For me, it's like super good.
Damn.
I mean,
Shout out Metro.
Yeah, shout out Metro. Give me like a limited pass.
That's not happening.
Sponsor us. Sponsor us. We need free Mikeys.
They ain't watching, man. Sorry, they ain't watching.
That's so much promotion for you guys. But anyway, so yeah, as simple as that. I was just like going around. I'm like, oh wow, this is like a really nice way to live. And my brother was like earning money and was giving me money to like shop.
That must be nice.
That was like, yeah, that was like the.
That would make me want to stay too.
But that's when I realized like, oh wow, he's actually earning money.
Right.
So yeah, like I extended my stay for 3 months, and I went back. I did my English like test, like studied the English and stuff like that, and then I went back after 3 months.
Right. So wait, when you first came here, you weren't you didn't know English as well, or
it's not like I didn't know English, but I don't really speak English.
Okay. And was it different when you actually learned, and did you feel like they opened more doors?
I think so, because
look at you now, you're doing a podcast, man.
Smashing it.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's smashing it.
Yeah, I think it did. Like language is a really good like tool, right? But even then, I was just like, I'm not a good speaker, and I always like realize that maybe because like I show my words to like through pictures.
Right.
That's how I communicate.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
I get you.
Yeah, but like,
Definitely like that. Yeah, like as like filmmakers and like dancers as well. It's like a different way to express what you want to say, not through words. But definitely, that's why we kind of started the podcast as well, because I kind of felt the same way, where I like communicating through my art, and that's how I kind of speak to the world. But then now when we're like actually speaking, it's like a different art in itself. You know what I mean? It's like its own thing, like language and just actually like expression through words. And it's cool when you have different languages that you can express through, and there's like different nuances on how you say things. You know what I mean? Which is like its own kind of art. But yeah, you're doing really well, man.
Okay, thank you.
Dope.
Because we have one shot I showed you.
Yeah, the soju helps.
No, but I think a lot of people forget that English is a very hard language to learn. I'm blessed to learn it first.
Yeah. Do you have another language that you can speak?
Cambodian. A bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
A bit, or like you can understand and speak?
I can understand it, but I can't speak it so well.
Right.
Like, don't put me to the test.
I don't even know Cambodian. So how would I tell?
I can say whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, isn't it like language is just... And I always commend people who have like who learns two languages.
Yeah, it is difficult to learn more than one language. But yeah, I guess it's like with skills, any skills, and so...
Yeah.
Cool.
Should we do a shot?
Yeah, we can do a shot.
Should do a
Do a shot. We might do a little shot. We might take a little break for our sponsors, Metro.
I was like, is this serious?
But yeah, let's do a quick timeout. We'll have a shot, and then we will be back with more questions for JM. All right.
Woo!
This podcast is brought to you by Kaizen Creative. Learn, collab, grow.
Okay.
Shots.
Touch.
So guys,
Shots. Is this mine?
Shots. One of them is that. Yeah, one of them is water though. That might be the water one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you bite your cups?
That is not water. Yes, I bite the cup. Is that mine?
Is that your cup? Do you bite the cups?
Yeah, I eat cups for a living. What was that? Why do you do that?
I do that a lot. I don't know why. It's like, apparently I do that when I sleep. I'm like, it's like,
What are you eating in your dreams?
Adobo.
from Sinigang.
Sinigang gang.
Sinigang gang. All right, we are back
We're
on
back.
the podcast.
Welcome back.
Thank you to our sponsors. That was great. I'm gonna fire off a question.
Ow.
I think this will be an interesting thing to talk about and hear your thoughts about. But it seems like you have met a lot of people in the community in Melbourne through Instagram, I believe. What are your thoughts on Instagram, sharing like creativity, community, and how have you found that balance of like putting out your work, connecting with people, but also like comparing yourself to other people and other creatives on Instagram?
Oh my God, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Because I used to be so obsessed with Instagram. Instagram is a great tool. Like, not gonna lie, it's a really great tool. You find inspiration, you find people, to create something with. But it's also like a place for you to be like, be down and depressed, just because you're seeing other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm so bad at it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to deal with it. But I do take a lot of break from Instagram, like now. But before I was like so obsessed, like I post every week,
Right.
like do shoots, like many shoots, like a month. But then I came to a point where I'm like, okay, everyone's doing amazing things. Everyone's just like good, and I'm here just shooting portrait. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to have like, an honest way of shooting portraits or just shooting in general without anything styled. But sometimes I will look at someone's work and it's really styled, really good with good lighting and stuff like that. So like good production, and I'm like, oh damn, like I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I feel like that's with Instagram, there's two conflicting energies. It's like one is like, oh yeah, it's great to share your work, and then the other is like, it's bad to compare yourself to other people's work, and it's one platform that you can do both quite easily.
Yeah.
So it's very conflicting.
Yeah, but also finding inspiration in other people's work versus comparing yourself. And I'm finding that hard as well. Like when you see something like amazing, like damn, these guys, like they absolutely killed it. It's awesome. Why am I not doing that? Or like, why is my work not like that?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I want to do stuff like that as well, you know, in a positive way where it's like, oh, maybe my next year I can think about those things for my shoot. So it's like inspiring and like opening up those trains of thought at the same time. But yeah, I was just curious to know because I feel like, you know, you connect with a lot of people on Instagram as well. So like, yeah, how are you finding that balance now? And maybe it was different a couple of years ago, like pre-COVID even, and the way that people were using Instagram. But yeah, nowadays, what are your thoughts on it? And, you know, how are you connecting with other like creatives and stuff at the moment, or finding inspiration even?
So now I view Instagram. This is how this finds me comfort. The way I view Instagram now is it's like a gallery, like an exhibition for me. It's a way for me to like, okay, this is my work. You guys are free to look at it. If you want to like it, if you want to comment, that's good. But then if not, I'm not gonna take any offense. Like, you know, I did the work. You know, 500 likes, that's still 500 people. Like 10 likes are still 10 people. You know what I mean? Like that's how I view Instagram now. Like I try to be that. I take many breaks, and yeah, like still now it's still like a good way to meet people. It's a good tool. Like people should still use that. And both can exist. Like you can compare yourself and you can be inspired by someone too. You just really have to find a balance. Like you have to take a break.
Beautiful. I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. Yeah. As a online gallery that people are like, you know, digitally walking through, etc. Cool. I have another question. In terms of creativity, obviously you're creating a lot, and you know, you were saying at one point you were doing shoots every single week. How do you, you know, stay creative?
Oh, Pinterest.
Pinterest, yeah. This is your thing. You're always looking through it.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes I'm gonna look at one photo and I'm gonna be in this like deep hole of like just looking picture after picture, and I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a good like location. That's a good concept to do.
Interesting. Well, Pinterest is like Instagram without the likes and comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah,
that's why it's great.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't know if this is someone else's work, if this is like a work from like your like someone from your area. Like you just know it's someone's work.
Right. It's less subjective. Like,
yeah, exactly. And
good tip.
Yeah, and sometimes you need a break.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have to be a creative all the time. Like I make it to a point that I meet with people that's not creative, so I don't have to think about like creative stuff.
Right,
I have Filipino friends that I would meet. They're like working in like the government. They're nurses, and sometimes when we meet, it's so easy because like I don't have to talk to them about like creative stuff.
And you like to feel like, oh yeah, I'm way more creative than these people.
It's an ego.
Yeah.
It's just an ego boost. Really?
No. Literally, we don't talk about it, so it's not like I'm not like saying, oh yeah, I did this like interview and stuff like that. It's more like I'm just saying like it's such a great way to have a break, like to have someone that you know,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when like being a filmmaker. And like watching films with people that aren't filmmakers, it's kind of fun because sometimes you just want to watch something that's stupid funny, and you know, and not like be so worried about the types of shots and what's the deeper story. And,
exactly.
You know, so I completely understand that.
It can get exhausting and pretty.
Just want to live and enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what about you guys? How do you guys stay creative? Like, I'm gonna throw back the question.
Yeah,
to
well,
you.
this is our podcast, so, maybe
So you can't ask us any questions.
I mean, okay.
Reverse, you know.
This is a one-way street. So,
no.
leave?
I'm open to answering that question. What was the question? How do we stay creative?
Yeah.
That is a good. I feel like for me, like personally, Definitely, Pinterest is definitely one of the things that keeps me creative. But I think being open to like ideas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like if I have an idea, like I'll just write it down real quick, and just like I feel like anything can spark an idea for me, whether that be like watching a movie or talking to someone or just something that happens. My brain just is like just wired in a creative way, and I'm always like open to that. I think, yeah, I don't try and like block it or feel like, yeah, I think just like not overthinking it. Yeah, when I'm being creative is like key for me. Just go with it.
Yeah,
it's like blah blah blah. Is an idea. Let me just. It could be shit. It could be good. Like I don't know, but I'm gonna just like think about it, and then like I'm like, all right, cool. I think I'm onto something, and then like be able to just roll with it and just keep like building off that. Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but that's just kind of like how I've been looking at creativity lately.
It's very good.
Yeah. I think like for me, when it comes to creativity, I kind of like take a page of the book, Steal Like an Artist, where it's like you take one thing and say, what's cool about creativity and art is that there's so many different formats. So I could look at a painting and then there's two people like doing something in that painting. It's like, oh, what are they talking about? Maybe that could be a film, or maybe that could be a story. And so you can steal from something, another art form, and translate that into your own art form, and like,
good one.
That's never been shown in video, you know, or that's never been written into a story, or like, I don't know, like I think isolating a small idea and then transforming that into a bigger story is like what art is, you know? And I mean like, I remember in uni, one story that I wrote was the perspective of a fly looking at a married couple. I was just thinking, what about the perspective of something else? Like, you know, like imagine the perspective of this microphone watching us do a podcast. What's this microphone trying to understand? Like, what's the view? It's like this giant, you know. It's like us, like, why is he moving his mouth around me? You can't comprehend, you know. You can. Oh, it's all about perspectives.
That's really good.
Yeah,
definitely. I like it. I guess like with you know, talking about creativity then, do you have any like other tips for maybe someone that's listening right now who's maybe going through like a creative slump? You know, obviously we spoke about a few different things that how we create, but maybe for photographers specifically, they're like, you know what, I haven't shot in a while, I haven't picked up the camera's getting a little bit dusty. What would you say to that person?
It's really okay to not do anything creative, even if it's like a year, because I've done it.
Right.
Because I was focused on doing like masters in IT that I don't even really like. And for me, that created, you know, I wouldn't do film if I didn't feel like a negative way about my photography. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have stayed in digital and maybe even stopped it if I didn't have that time to think about like, oh, maybe I should, you know, do another medium and maybe should experiment. And sometimes you just have to like deal with it. But yeah, just not a long time though. Don't do it in a long time. But
don't fully close the door on it, right?
Yeah, don't fully close the door on it. And what did I do before when I was dealing with creative block? I feel like even watching movies and like you said, like I don't know, picking something from an art, like even like in photography it exists, like looking at a painting, you know, going to galleries, going to museums, watching a movie, you can even pick something from there and then make it into something, like you said earlier.
Okay, I'm gonna flip it up a little bit then. You know, you are a full-time creative now, and you're navigating your way through you know, working as a creative. How did you find what it was like balancing the business of creativity and the creative as well, especially as a freelancer, and then working with brands? Do you have any tips for people that are maybe starting that journey now as well, or maybe they've been in that journey in terms of like, both like branding business, like how to charge for your work, and also, you know, balancing the creative for that work as well? Do you have any tips for those guys?
You mean like balancing between being a business guy and then like a creative?
Yeah, looking at yourself, you know, and like, you know, working with clients and having clients, and then how you actually work with the creative as well, because that's what you're doing at the moment, right?
Yeah.
In how you approach different people when people approach you. Yeah. How's that journey been like for you?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, my question's gone all over the place. let's just start with the journey
So I'm like
of that.
translating.
Yeah. So just firstly the journey of like, taking your creative to work. How was that? How was that switch for you, or was that always a part of like how you were, creating?
You mean like being like a photographer as a business? Because before it was just an art form.
Yeah, you were just like trying it out.
I guess it's good to not be attached to everything that I do. Like if I'm gonna do, let's say, like a wedding, like a food photo shoot, I view it as like, oh yeah, I make money from it, but it's not like it's not like a big part of me. Like it's just a way for me to show clients that I can do other things.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of like business stuff, like it's important to talk about other photographers as well, like what the rate is or what's the going rates. I feel like that's a crucial part that it's not talked about more, that should be talked about more. That makes sense. But yeah, because some people gatekeep their rates, but it shouldn't be, because like how would we know that we're getting lowballed by a client or just like in general,
Right.
when all of us don't talk about like the rates, you know what I mean?
It should be more of a community thing, like you guys sticking together.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
I have some people that I can talk to about rates, and we'll be like, oh, how much does this brand charge you? You know what I mean? Because they're reaching out to me now, and they could be like, oh, this and this, so I'm gonna charge the same thing.
Right.
Because
That's cool.
you don't want to make your rate like the normal thing. Like if it's low, like for example, if I charge you 200, but it should be like 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm doing a disservice to the photography community, because
and the industry as well.
Yeah, in like the whole industry, because
Exactly.
like people would think like, oh, this is the normal.
Yeah, I can get away with charging someone this
Exactly.
talented this low. Yeah.
That's why I stopped doing free shoots now. Like
Right.
completely stop. Unless I really like the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a passion project kind of thing.
Yeah. Or if they can pay for film, then that's even better.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I was just talking about this the other day, where we were saying like if someone is like really talented and they charge really low, not only is that bad for them, but also everyone else who might be just starting out, all their rates get pushed down as well, because that's the standard. And sometimes people don't think about that, especially as a creative, you know what I mean? So it's interesting. And, when people aren't talking about it as well, it seems like it almost feels like it's hard to talk about as a creative, because you care so much about your work, and then putting a number on your work is like kind of the opposite.
Yeah, you feel like it's just a conversation between you and the client and just a number, but it's also a rippling effect for the whole creative community around
Wow,
you.
that's a good word, rippling effect. I can't say that. Here's my English vocabulary.
Keep that one. Keep that one.
Now.
Save it for the next
Rippling
podcast.
effect.
Rippling effect.
Yep.
Yes. But yeah, do you have any tips then in terms of when you are negotiating a price and talking to a client, and what you kind of think about, or do you just ask your friends, or how does it work for you?
It can be a mix of all. Like sometimes I ask my friends. Sometimes I'm gonna this is like, I'm not sure if it's gonna lock in, but I recently got an email from a social media coordinator of like an F1 racer.
Cool.
So they're like, we wanna, do analog film with, behind the scenes in like F1 this coming Melbourne I think the Australian Grand
Prix.
Prix.
Yeah.
Pre.
Free. The X is silent.
Okay,
But yeah, you can actually watch it from outside of our window.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on Albert Park. That's the course right there. Yeah.
Take the photos from there too.
That'll be the worst photos.
I don't think they would say yes, because I said a rate and then they didn't reply. Anyway, so
was
the
it
way,
Lewis Hamilton?
it's not Lewis Hamilton. No. That's too super big.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I'm like researching, like what are the normal rates of an F1 photographer. I even searched the salary of that
F1 photographer.
Oh no, that F1 racer.
F1
Oh, okay.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
maybe
he
like a
earns
percentage
like
of
$3
that?
million Australian dollars. I'm like, no, USD, I think.
Oh.
Okay.
So I priced it like that, but apparently even the photographers, like the regular ones, don't even get paid like properly.
Wow. Yeah, because a lot of people want to put their hands up to be a part of it.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But if I'm charging like 500 a day for that, I'm like, it's not worth it because like I'm gonna spend money on film
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna develop the film, which costs money as well.
Yeah.
And racing is not even what I want to do. Like
Yeah.
racing photography is not even what I want to do. So I'm like,
Mm.
I'm weighing things like, is it beneficial for me sometimes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think that's definitely a good way to go about it. And just basic business 101s is like, what is it actually going to cost me to create this work, whatever it is?
Mhm.
And then also you're thinking about like,
The time
do
you
I
edit.
the time
Yeah.
of the edit, but also do I actually want to do this in the future? Like, am I trying to tee up more of this kind of work as well?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
that field, like, is this the right field that I want to create in?
Yeah, it's interesting though. They reached out because you're talented,
Stop
and
it.
yeah, but they don't value photography as a whole.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's why they.
You're just saying like, oh, this F1 racer, like, yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. Like, people would definitely like that I'm shooting in like in that environment. But I'm like, that's not what I'm gonna do in the future. It's not beneficial for me. It's not like, oh, everyone would know me that and then would hire me for another like F1. You know.
Yeah, and I guess you get that with the experience. When you've been shooting for a while, then you know after. But when you're starting out, you're kind of like, yeah, I'll do it, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
You
like,
know,
oh, $200. I'll do it for a day.
I'll pay you.
I'm gonna spend $1,000. You don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, knowing your value is definitely like
It comes with time.
It comes
well.
with time. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And saying no.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a tough one. And I think it just comes with experience, eh? Like the more times you're able to be like, you know what? No, like this is not for me.
Yeah.
And knowing that maybe that door closed opens up another one. But it's very hard, I guess, as a creative sometimes when you got bills to pay and people are just like, oh, you know what? I got to do it. And the rate is so low. And then people are saying yes. And this is like a continuous problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happens for not just like photography, but even like in dance. I know it's definitely happening. Yeah, where people just want to dance as well, or they just want to create.
Yeah.
And they don't really care about the money.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like,
But we have to pay bills.
you got to pay the bills,
Yeah.
and that's not gonna pay your bill. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing free work.
I always say like if life doesn't involve money, like paying bills and stuff, I would do photography 100%. But I have to put a price on it because
For sure.
I have to pay bills. Unfortunately,
For
I
sure.
don't know why it's made like this, but
It's life.
we should live for free. That's
Yeah,
I mean, that's it's the world we live in. And
true.
at the same time, I feel like it can also be a tool, and we usually like to talk about money as like energy and the way that you work your budgets and the way that you have a budget to create as well, and the more resources you have, the more energy you have, the more time you can spend.
and the longer
this
you can do it.
project.
Yeah.
And the longer you can sustain
Yeah.
that creative thing as well. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
Mm.
oh, that's a good note.
Yeah, yo, shout outs to money.
Good job. We love money.
We love money. Shout out Pesos.
Sponsors, send us.
Sponsor us money. Yeah.
Kodak, sitting still.
Yeah. So like you spoke about, where you're looking to go then. Where is that in terms of like, photography for you? And is it just photography? Are there other outlets or like, what does the future look like for you at the moment?
At the moment, there's no future. Just kidding.
There is no tomorrow.
There's no tomorrow. I don't know. Like one thing I want to do though in the future is like do an exhibition, like a solo exhibition, because I feel like it's interesting for people to see like the portraits I've done here, because those people are not just portraits of people I took a shot of. It's people I met and have a conversation with. You know what I mean? That's because I used to film as a tool for me to like, meet people. But then
Right.
as a bonus, I was able to take portraits of them.
Nice.
Even like a book. Like I want to do a book, like a coffee table book.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just portraits.
Beautiful.
But obviously there's like budgets and stuff like that.
So,
Cool.
like, Are you the type of person that would just sit down in a cafe and people watch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes. H&M, Bork. I would do that there. I would sit there.
I'm there
watch
too. You said it like, oh, do you meet up there?
Yes.
You want to meet up? Man?
do people do that?
Do you do that?
I like to, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it's in the city, I like to just like, if it's just a Starbucks or something, just sit on the outdoor table by
Like
myself and
creepily,
just, I just have like a newspaper and then I just,
Two holes,
yeah.
He's a creep.
No, but I love people watching because it's humbling.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like everybody has their own life and their own story, and you don't know where they're
Absolutely.
coming from or where they're going, and it's just a moment in their life that we get to see, and it's a beautiful thing.
What do you think about airports?
I love
For me,
airports.
airports are like super interesting.
It
It's
is
so
very-
cool.
Because sometimes I'm like, I want to cry with you because you just saw your like crunch.
So many
side.
stories.
So you run up and then you hug them
I'm
as well.
like, I want to hug you guys as well. Because whenever
Yeah.
for example, if I pick my mom up,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch all the people like come out and then meeting their family. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Mum.
Do you ever like come out of the airports, like let's say the Philippines, or like and then you see like all of the Filipinos like standing there with
Yes,
signs and
yes,
everything? You feel like a
yes.
superstar. You walk out like, "Hello, everyone."
Yeah. I'm a K-pop star.
So funny. Oh, that's awesome.
No, yeah, like airports, such full of stories. I feel like.
I think that's why I like Melbourne as well. I feel like there's so much diversity here, so many different
absolutely.
stories that you can just see. Like when you're in the city and you're seeing people walk past, like, where's this guy going? Where's this girl going? Like, what's what was happening before this? Where our interactions and we are connecting like right now at this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're just walking past. Maybe I'll never walk past this person again.
Yeah.
But it's like that's just life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm always fascinated about that. Like just
That's where I like to draw characters from when you're writing stories and stuff like that. You could just take one person and just like write their whole life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's about time to wrap it up. Do you want to give them the golden question?
Yeah. This is a question that we ask all of our guests. So let's say I had a time machine. You jumped into that time machine. You went back 15 years and you saw the young Kuya
Oh, the young Kuya.
yourself 15 years ago, and you look at yourself like dead in the eye and you could just say like one piece of advice. What would you say?
Oh my god, that's deep.
We go deep. It's the only way we know.
It's the only way to go.
Wow, this is making me think. I would just say like, I would tell him to keep believing in himself because you're gonna get there eventually. I think that's it. Mic drop.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. Do you think self-belief is something that you feel like could help you more in the development of like your artistic career?
I feel like it could have made my life easier if I was constantly believing in myself. Maybe I would have gotten like more advanced in my career. But I wouldn't say like, I'm not saying like I'm not happy with my career right now. It's more like it would have been great if, at the very start actually did believe in myself.
Right. Yeah, I feel like self-belief is always a work in progress though. It's not like you just have self-belief. It's something that you always got to build on and, remind yourself and like even looking back at your past work and just being like, yeah, I'm an artist, and I do great work, and just remembering the impact that you have as an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good note to end on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, JM, for coming through.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Thanks for having me. This is my first podcast.
Yeah,
First
hopefully
and
we
last.
get you back.
Okay, bye. You never see me again.
This is the only podcast with
Yeah.
JM on it. So.
Well, I said it's
Exclusive.
senseless.
But yeah, thank you so much
hate
for
these
coming
guys.
through. Thank you for sharing with us
thank you so
and being
much.
so open and being,
Thank you.
having, this conversation with us in English, something that you felt like a little bit like nervous about, but
Yeah, true.
you just went with it, and we got to share some stories and connect. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next time we connect again, whether that be on a podcast or in a different creative
Annie's
form.
birthday. Nick's birthday.
Well, let's just go Annie's house. We're going to kick it there. But yeah, thanks for your time. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
Salamat.
Salamat.